All right, friends, here we are. We're live. Hope you're doing really well today on this incredible, actually not incredible, but a fantastic Friday. If we have not met before, my name is Sopak. I am a content creator here on YouTube. I do photo, I do video, I do vlogs, other fun things, just kind of whatever it is that I'm feeling on a particular day. I hope that you're doing really well. And if this is the first time that we're meeting, why don't you consider liking the video and also subscribing to this channel. This is just a little live stream that I wanted to put together today. Fridays are normally my day off from my normal 9 to 5, and I love to just use Fridays for different types of creative outlets. So it's a lot of times I'll do my video recordings, and then also I do some live streaming. So thanks for joining the live stream today. If you are joining us, let me know in the chat where you're watching from. Always interested to know where people are at when they see this content. And also today, just like I said, I wanted to throw together this live stream, and I want to talk camera gear. Camera gear is one of the big topics that always comes up for YouTubers, for videographers, for people who are just in the freelancing world, and we're always chasing for what's the best thing that's available to us right now. And there's been quite a splash. 2020 was actually a huge year for camera gear in the midst of all the other craziness going on in the world. Huge year for tech and just camera gear in general. We had the R5, we had the R6, we had the Sony A7S Mark III, all of this other crazy stuff. And recently Sony just dropped the A1, which kind of dropped the mic on absolutely everybody. So some fun things to talk about here. So hey, let me know in the comment down below, or in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from, what camera gear you're excited about, what is it that you would like me to chat about, or maybe some things we can discover, maybe some no-name brand that maybe I've never even heard of before. Let me know in the chat. Hey Jonathan, nice to see you, my friend. Hope that you're doing really well. Oh yeah, we are going there today. We are talking about camera gear. Hey, I want to mention before, or as we go on, drop your questions in the chat. I'm doing these little animation things. They're a ton of fun. I finally figured out how to get these things to pop up or export them with an alpha key and all that fun stuff. But anywho, the other thing I want to show you today is camera angle number 2. And the other thing that I'm about to reveal to you, if you've been following me on Instagram, I recently sold my desk. I'm going to be putting a vlog out about it probably in the next day or so. But this is the new desk setup here. This is a Husky sit-stand desk. This is, I think, the 42-inch version of the desk, and I love it. It's really awesome. It's just like a nice flat piece of wood. It's got a manual crank for sit stand, and I love it a lot. We had a nice desk prior, but it was kind of like my wife and I had joined, we made the decision on what desk was going to be in the office space, but then I started using it a lot more, in this space. So I got say in it, and so we sold the other one. I got this one. This is really cool. You'll also notice what's happening here is I have a couple of stands. Let me move the computer monitor. So here I'm testing out a few things. I'm not sure that I absolutely love it yet, but we have here just a standalone little clamp where I have the camera, and I have a mini ball head and a quick release plate. I've got my Sony A7 III with a 20mm f1.8 lens, which I love. A little mirror here because, Sonys don't have the flip out on some of their cameras. And then this is kind of unnecessary, but literally this mic on this stand, I'm using this Comica Boom XU to wirelessly feed into here. And then you should know about these capture cards by now if you follow me for a little bit here on YouTube. These amazing little $20 capture cards, which if you're interested in any of the stuff that I use here, you can check it out down below in the video description. So we got John that's watching from Los Angeles, just a little south of me, my friend. Dang, we should meet up sometime. I'm up in Ventura. But anyway, let's talk about some camera gear. And again, I want to mention that if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat or any gear that you would love me to talk about. So setting the stage, when we're talking about new gear, we have the new Sony A7. I'm sorry, they're not even doing A7s. They're doing the A1, which I think is probably one of the best, sorry, getting my mic situated. The A1 is a great opportunity to meme for camera gear. Where I'm from, Florida, some time ago, to say A1 was to say that something was like pristine and awesome. So I keep saying like break out the steak sauce because that camera is just incredible. These are the kind of jokes that you're gonna be getting from me today. But the A1, if you don't know, it's 50 megapixels. It shoots 8K video, which I don't know if there's a ton of people asking for 8K right now, but it can do it. And apparently it does it very, very well. And it's got ridiculously high ISO capabilities. It takes like all of the great video features from the A7S Mark III and it carries it over with a higher megapixel count, and it can take 30 photos per second, which is absolutely insane. Really, I mean, they packed like everything they could inside of that camera, and it's kind of just blowing everything else out of the water. Now, the price tag though, we can talk about the price tag as I am now searching it up here on my computer. They have it. Wow. Okay. 1 second here. So here is the price tag for the brand new Sony A1. $6,500. Absolutely crazy. It's releasing on March 4th, just a couple of days after my birthday. So, hey, if you're interested in hooking your boy up with a birthday gift, hey, I'm all ears. I mean, I'll take it. But in all reality, though, pretty nuts the stuff that they packed inside of this camera. Now, a lot of people are going to get hung up on the price, and with good reason too. Now, if you follow me for a little while, I said this like when the A7S Mark III came out, that it's really important that as creators or as freelancers, maybe you do YouTube, whatever, and it's not a full-time job, or maybe it's just a side job, or maybe something you're trying to build into a side job, much like myself trying to build this into a full-time gig. But for me, I just don't have need for something that insane. Like I said, I have the Sony A7 III, which is now like 3.5 years old as a camera. But when this camera came out, it was insane. We know the good things about it, the great things about it, some of the downsides of it. And those are things that I'm willing to work with. And not only that, but I'm going to when I get a new piece of gear, I tend to just try to get as much as I can out of it, learn as much as I can about it, so that way I'm not just constantly feeling the need to upgrade. Like, I know the limitations of the camera, so I'm going to make sure that I can work around those limitations. And then eventually, like one day, I will upgrade from this camera to something else. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Maybe it is the A7S Mark III. I doubt it's the A1 because my needs just aren't that great. Or maybe it's the A7 IV once and whenever, if they possibly release that camera. There are definitely a few features that I would love to see in some of that stuff in the future. Like, I would love to have 4K 120 frames per second video. That would be incredible. You know, the new 10-bit color modes and different stuff like that they have in the newer cameras. That's pretty amazing for color grading. Although 8-bit is manageable, I can work with it. All my videos are 8-bit color, and I think it looks pretty stinking good. So those are some of my thoughts. Hey, let me know in the comments, in the chat, what sort of cameras are you excited about? What's the one camera that's like on your wish list? What's the one thing that you're like, man, if money was not a factor, I would love this camera? I think actually for me, it probably would be the A1. Now, there's one thing to discuss about this. This camera does not have the flip out rotating screen so you can't see yourself. That may be a deal breaker to some people. If you look here at my setup, as I mentioned before, this contraption up here, it's kind of tough to tell from this angle, but What this is a reflective mirror that is taking my LCD, which you can probably see my LCD back here is propped up at an angle, and it's reflecting the image so that way I can see myself in the shot while I'm framing things up or while I'm getting settings and stuff together. So I use this for this main camera, and I also use it for my A6300, which is camera 2 right now. And these are little workarounds, right? These are little things that you have to do if you're trying to see yourself, see your settings. So it's kind of incredible that they put all those features inside of that new A1 camera, but yet they did not put in the flip screen. I mean, the flip screen, it's a huge deal to people. Now, I have had scenarios. If you've seen the vlog that I did when my wife and I went up to Big Sur, California, you'll noticed that I did quite a lot of vlogging stuff. The one thing though is that I actually never once used, I brought this little mirror system with me, but it was just, I don't know, it's just another piece of gear. I didn't really want to think about it too much. So what I would do is I literally would have the camera. I would choose where my lighting was going to be, like where I was going to stand or where I was going to be moving. And then I would kind of like do a 180, and then I would check the exposure just by putting my hand up, because you know this has similar skin tone to this. And then I would just kind of dial in my settings, check it out, and then I would turn back around, and then I would start vlogging just by looking into the lens. And it's not the most comprehensive and helpful thing, especially if audio levels are peaking or things are just not right with white balance or whatever. But it's just little workarounds and different things that, you know, you have to do if you don't have the means to, you know, actually check your settings and do it that way. Leo Keller, what's up, man? Doing really well. Just throwing this little stream together on this beautiful Friday. Hope you're doing well. We're just talking about camera gear. If you have something you'd love me to talk about, discuss, or share with everyone else who's watching here, please put it down into the chat, and let's drop that animation while I take a sip of coffee. Today I am drinking a black coffee. This is a nice medium roast, well balanced, pretty nice. Gotta get some fuel to keep you going. So, Sony A1, absolutely insane, right? So, for me, when I'm thinking of like camera gear, especially if we're talking about like YouTube. So, YouTube 2021, what are the most important things that you absolutely need to get a good looking image, to get a good video quality across to your audience? What are the things that you need the most? I actually would say if you had no camera, if you didn't have anything except maybe just a smartphone, what is the first piece of gear that you would want to buy? A lot of people would say a camera. I think that's a good option. I think probably the best option though is actually some form of audio. Audio is, you know, it's good video is 50% good image, 50% good audio. So having good audio with good video is really, really important, because if you're in a very echoey environment, or let's say you were just going to use your phone, you just said, hey, I don't have a ton of money, maybe I only have $100, $200, I'm just going to use my phone as my camera. That's great, especially if you have something like any of the newer iPhones, pretty much 11s, the 12s, any of that sort of stuff. Those cameras are incredible, and like the more and more I see the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Pro, the 12 Pro Max, Infinity and beyond, I don't know what the names are even anymore, but these cameras are really pretty good for getting good quality, and I think that you can really get away with this. Now, you don't get nice super organic depth of field, you know, that blur in the background that you kind of have right now in this current frame. You don't really get so much of that with an iPhone. But if you spend a few bucks, maybe you get a nice little affordable lapel mic you can hook up to your phone. That's pretty great. I had mentioned before too that I use some like wireless audio. If you're interested in like wireless audio, these little Rodes, these are the Rode Video Micros. or no, the Rode Wireless goes. I actually have two of these because I was mainly using them for kind of like an interview style of setup. I actually got these for a job where I knew I was going to need two sort of wireless lapels as an option. So these are really cool. They cost you about 200 bucks and they don't really come with anything else. The one kit I mentioned in my last live stream that I'm using right now and really loving are these Comica Boom XUs. This is really great for lapel audio. It comes with the whole kit. It comes with two of these transmitters. It comes with one receiver that takes in two signals. Here I can kind of actually show you a little bit of what it is. So I have one transmitter here. I've got another transmitter here in my hand. I can hook this up to a lapel mic. I could have this hooked up to another shotgun microphone style thing. And then you can choose to do a stereo input with the receiver on the camera. And so you can send two signals. You can have one be to a shotgun, one be to a lapel. You can have one as a backup or one as a second audio source. And that's just, it's one whole package that comes together. And for I think $50 more, for around $250, you get this whole kit and then a nice little carrying case and other accessories versus the Rode Wireless Go, which is great. This is a little bit more user friendly, a little bit more, dummy proof, if you will. It's a good option. I've used the Rodes for a long time and still continue to use them. The only reason I have the Comica is because I actually won it off of Instagram, which is fun because I never win stuff like that. So that was fun. Hey, if you're getting value out of the video or if you're just mildly entertained, go ahead and like it and also consider subscribing to this channel. Again, we're chatting about cameras here today. What kind of cameras we're excited to see here in 2021. Maybe let me know in the comments, in the chat, what is your favorite camera and what camera are you using right now? Interested to know. For me, I'm a Sony shooter. You should know that by now at this point. I use the A7 III and I have an A6300. Love these cameras. The one thing that I always try to mention whenever I'm talking about camera brands and stuff, people are always want to know, well, what's the best camera? What's the best camera brand, the company and everything like that. And really it's kind of subjective because these different companies, they're doing really good stuff. And I'd say certain companies, like it used to be that Canon was known for like the best photo cameras. Sony's were really good with video, and then they started putting out like video specific cameras or video focus cameras, and then they did photo focus cameras. And then Blackmagic is another company. They're not really a photo camera. They're always video, and you can get better specs and features from them versus like the Sony. And then it's this whole back and forth. And then Fuji always kind of falls somewhere in the middle. You have Canon autofocus was always like the greatest thing ever, but then Sony autofocus came up right behind it. There's a bunch of different things, all this back and forth. And really, it kind of is secondary to like good quality and good image. I think that right now, for me, if someone was to just hand me, let's say I've never used a Fuji camera personally, so if someone handed me a Fuji camera, because of my knowledge of lighting and audio and just how to work a camera, I could figure it out quickly enough to where I could get a good quality image. So the big thing is not what gear you have in your hands, but just the knowledge that you have on how do you set your exposure, how do you light things, your composition. So I think it's kind of a crime that people get so hung up on, oh, I just have to have this particular camera to get, a good look. Not always the case. Now, granted, certain cameras, like I said, my Sonys that I own, they only have 8-bit color, which means if you want to do an extreme color grading, not really going to look very good. So maybe you need something with 10-bit color. Maybe you need some nicer features. Maybe your autofocus isn't that great, or your camera doesn't do continue autofocus very well. Like the Panasonics, traditionally Panasonic cameras don't do autofocus very well. They're more manual focus. So yeah, all these different things to consider. Let's see here in the chat. Let's see, Jonathan says, I'm using a Canon M50, but I'd love to try a Sony camera. Dude, the Canon M50 is like one of the most popular cameras I think that is out there right now. I know they came out also with the Mark II, and people make really great content with it. And it's like one of the best starter cameras that people really could put their money towards. So Canon M50 is awesome. I'd mention with your M50, if you haven't looked into them yet, Sigma makes some prime lenses. If you're cool with prime lenses and you don't need something that's like a zoom, look into the Sigma primes. They have some really nice lenses. Sony a7S III is my current camera and absolutely loving it. No doubt, Scott, that camera looks insane. I really do want to try it. I just haven't gotten my hands on one yet. And I don't really, as much as like I want to justify purchasing a camera like the a7S III or the A1 or something like that, I just don't really have the need for it with my current situation. The cool thing though, so if you said, oh my gosh, like I love the video capabilities of what you could get in something like the A1, well, then I would say check out the a7S III for video, because a lot of the 4K features are the same. You don't get 8K, consider that. But you could almost get two A7S Mark IIIs for the price of just one Sony A1. So these are all different things to consider, but A7S III looks insane. Definitely would love to try it. I'm interested too to see, or maybe Scott, you can even mention in the chat, what's the photo capabilities like? Because I know it's got 12 megapixels in the camera, and I've seen some interesting stuff with the photo capabilities. Typically, I'm more of a 24 megapixel sensor kind of person, so I love 24. I'm curious to know though, if with your experience, what the 12 is looking like. So, okay, what do we have here in the chat? And I'll mention too, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. What prep do you do before making a video? John Lee is asking. Okay, my prep, it kind of varies depending on the video. So I had mentioned earlier in the screen, Fridays are my day off. I do work a 9-to-5 job, work at least 5 days a week, sometimes more, just kind of depends. So I really try to strike while the iron is hot as far as inspiration goes for creating YouTube videos. So if I'm doing something like, let's say, a tutorial, I will be prepped in my steps on how to get from point A to point B and every step in between. So I did a little while ago a Lightroom tutorial, or no, it was a Photoshop tutorial on how to do a sky replacement. You can find that on my channel if you'd like. And there's just very specific steps that you need to hit in order to make the thing happen. And so for me, I'll write those steps out, or I'll have just a rough outline of what I want to do. I'm trying to get better at planning out the topic and even having a title and a reasoning for the video before I go to shoot. That doesn't always happen for me. My most recent video I did on RGB lighting, that literally was me just one night. I think I did it the day before, or the night before I released it. So I think I released it on a Thursday. Wednesday night I was sitting on the couch and I'm like, I just need to go make something. I got to do something like right now. And so I just have learned, try to strike while the iron's hot as far as my inspiration goes. And so I just jumped into the room, and then I was just thinking to myself, okay, what are the things that I want to talk about? And then just kind of build the pieces as I go. Now, that's not the greatest method for maybe having a crystal clear message throughout your video. Me personally, when I go to, if I'm doing something speaking like this, or if I'm doing public speaking, or if I'm doing anything just where I'm having to talk maybe even to the camera, I'll always have like a general kind of like outline, but it's more of like a Cliff Notes version. Like I'm not taking scripted things word for word. A lot of this stuff is just coming off the top of my head, but that's personally how I like to do it. I like the delivery when I listen through, when I do my editing and stuff. I like how I deliver things better when it's a little bit more off the cuff, kind of organic, versus doing scripted things like step by step by step. So that works for me right now. My friend Ben Johnson, who's blowing up right now on YouTube, which is really fantastic. He does a lot more scripted type stuff, and I'm trying to adopt some of the principles that he applies in his videos because I just know it's going to make me a better creator in the long run. It's going to make the videos a bit more concise, and really that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cut out the fat, trim the fluff, so that way I'm not putting in a bunch of filler that's not necessary for the viewer to know. It's okay, here's, maybe the problem, or here's the thing that I want to teach somebody, and here are the steps in order to make that apply to your situation. So hopefully that helps. That's just kind of my creative little process and how I do things. Like I said, though, it can change literally in a day. The other day, too, when I was talking about getting this new desk set up, got this brand new desk. I'll go ahead and show it to you. This new Husky desk. I thought to myself, well, actually, really, the video didn't even start with me talking about a desk. It was, I just wanted to clean up the space and kind of do more of a vlog style of thing. And then I happened to sell my desk in the middle of doing the vlog. So then I captured that, and that'll be coming out probably tomorrow. But yeah, so it's just kind of going with it. I'm still also trying to just figure out how can I blend, because I don't want to just be tutorials and sit down stuff, because although I can do that, I feel like I'm a little bit more, I don't know, it just doesn't feel quite like me. I need to be up and active and moving in different locations to really kind of, I think, help get the point across sometimes. So anyway, that's a long ramble, but that's these are the things that I deal with in my head for the whole creative process. So hopefully there was something in there for you to get some value out of it. And I will mention too, if you're getting value, go ahead and like the video, and also consider subscribing to this channel if you have not already. All right, let's get back to the chat. Jonathan says, yes, I'm trying to pick up the Sigma 16mm f1.4 for the M50. Get that nice shallow depth of field. Yeah, that's the one I would suggest to get a nice like wide field of view, and then that 1.4 is just fantastic, especially on the smaller crop sensor lenses, or not lenses, but cameras like the M50. Let's see. Scott says, I don't use the Sony for stills, purely for video, although it's more than enough for use cases. Well, that's good to know. That's really good to know. Yeah, I mean, I know some people had mentioned that with the A7S III, you could do some more of, if you were doing something for Instagram or social media, or if you weren't needing to crop in your image at all, 12 megapixels was actually pretty decent for that. So that's good to know. Happy to hear that is possible with that camera. Hey, let me know in the chat, yeah, just any sort of other camera gear that you may be interested in at the moment. And what are some other things you've heard about that are on the horizon that are maybe to be released or yet to be released so far? One thing I'll mention too is I'm really interested now to see where the camera market goes since Sony dropped the A1 and they really packed everything together. Even though it's a top tier pricing for a camera, I'm curious to see what types of features potentially trickle down into more of the prosumer kind of line of cameras, where it's like, okay, do we get 10-bit color for video instead of the next Sony A7? Like I keep mentioning, like I'm holding out hope for the Sony A7 IV. Like if it could take all the goodness from the A7 III, kind of drop some of the bad things about it. If it could add in 4K 120, and like if I got the A7, let's just say I had an A7 III, but they added in 4K 120 and 10-bit color for video, and then maybe put in like the newer, nicer color science, but they didn't change anything else like when it comes to photos, maybe the autofocus a little bit, then I'd be sold. Even if I didn't have a flip out screen, that thing would be incredible. So curious to know, what are some things that you're looking for in a perfect camera? All right, so Danielle says, I'm excited for the Viltrox f1.8 for Sony whenever it releases. Okay, I have not actually heard about that one, so I'm curious to see what we got here. So it's a Viltrox. Viltrox makes some pretty good stuff in general. 51 point, hello, 1.8 Sony. I'm really, so it's a Sony kit. Viltrox. Well, they got the 85, which I do know that's good. Maybe okay, so maybe it's obviously not released yet. You said for when it releases, so we'll say at this point it's to come. But third-party lenses, you can get some pretty good results with these third-party lenses. I mean, if you just look at one of the most popular, like for Sony cameras that have ever been sold, like if you just type in Sony lenses, Sony lens on B&H, the Sigma, which is the third-party lens, 24-70, that lens kind of looks perfect as a good all-around zoom for the Sonys. And then I was looking for it. Here it is. The Tamron, the 28-75. When this thing came out, it was back ordered like crazy because it gave you a lot of the. It wasn't optically as perfect, we'll say, as like a G Master, but for sub $900 in comparison to like over $2,000 for a G Master, that lens is bomb. I've used it before. It's lightweight, it's simple, it's easy. Just love it so much. So all that to say, third-party lenses are actually pretty great. I think long are the days. Long are the days. Long away are the days. No more is what I'm trying to say. Like it used to be that if you really wanted reliable autofocus, you would have to use like first-party lenses. So if you want a reliable autofocus from Sony's or from Canon's, that you would need to use a Sony lens or a Canon lens for your camera. But now, third-party lenses have come a long way. I think the autofocus in these cameras have gotten much better as well. So now the Tamrons, the Sigmas, the Viltrox, Samyang, all those types of like third-party Rokinon, those lenses are getting much better. Let's see. Jonathan Lee. 4K 60 FPS would be nice to have in the A7 III, holding out for the A7 IV as my second camera. I'm right there with you, John. Right there with you, man. Oh, the other thing too, no recording limit. Like, can we just get rid of that on every single camera ever? Like from now on? I think the reason they were doing that was like some sort of like trade embargo, or if, I think it was because they're imported. I think it's like if it would record over 30 minutes that it would go into a new classification and would like add to the cost of like the overall camera. So let's just do away like with the recording limits forever and ever. Like please, all camera manufacturers, please just stop. Okay, Jonathan, I want to master the M50 and maybe move up to a Canon EOS R, maybe even get a Sony camera. Yeah, dude, go for it. Yeah, really just, I would encourage you, check out every single video that you can find. Take the cameras out. This is for any camera too, like do your research. When I bought my A6300, this camera up here, which doesn't look as good right now because I don't have a super nice lens on it. But when I bought this camera, I bought it purely off the recommendation of a friend that I really trusted, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I bought that camera used, and I didn't even have a lens for a really long time until I could save up for the 50 1.8, but it was like the 1.8 that has the stabilization in it that's made for those, like for the crop sensor cameras. And it was really good, except a 50 millimeter on a crop sensor lens like that is, or crop sensor, oh my gosh, dude, I can't talk. 50 on a crop sensor is like closer to an 85, and that was like the only focal length, and it's just way too tight for a ton of stuff. But what am I getting at? So I just decided I'm going to try to learn and do as much as I can to get the most out of that camera. And even now, still to this day, I can get a really good look out of this camera. In fact, in my last video, the RGB lighting one, I was using that camera with this lens, the 20mm f1.8 Sony. And it looked really great. Like, this camera's like 6 years old or something, and I bought it used, and it looked fantastic. And it was in 4K. Now, there's a bunch of downsides with that camera, but I know that because I've done my research. I've learned how to work with it, work through it sometimes. And there's other cool things you can do too on like the older cameras like that. You can install these little like hacks. So that camera has a 30-minute recording limit, but there's a hack that you can download and like put on the camera that will like disable the recording limits. Then you get unlimited recording. So fun things like this that you can do with cameras. I'm gonna take another sip of coffee here. Just want to remind you to like the video. Oh, that was cold. That was not fun. Yikes. Okay. Oh, that was bad. All right. Let's get to the chat. Sorry, it just took me a second there. Yeah, the record limit, super annoying. Hyperspace for a third-party photography lens for Sony full frame. Love the Tokina ATX 85. Tokina. Okay, so that one, that's like even less money than some on B&H, but Tokina, Sony, this guy right here, that's probably really nice. Okay, cool. You know what? I think this looks like a similar build to the Viltrox, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go ahead and pull over another little screen here. Is this like the Viltrox? Oh, Viltrox 85, Fuji, Sony. Also 400. This one's 5. Curious. Okay. It's awesome. It's got 2 reviews. Looks good. That's great. Yeah, man. Third-party lenses are where it's at. Personally, I shoot prime lenses primarily. 1 second. So, here's my prime lens collection that I have at this very moment. So I have the 20mm f1.8 super wide. Let me see if I can move this. This lens right here looks really fantastic. Super nice build quality. Move this back out of frame. And I really love that lens because it just kind of gives this, I don't know, just gives a really cool look and perspective. Really wide, very sharp. Love the build quality on it. The other prime lens that I have, I do mostly have Sony primes, is the 35-1.8. This one was released probably, I don't know, 2 years ago or so. Very compact, very lightweight. This had one of the first, I think this is one of their first lenses with their newest autofocus system. So like there's a little piece in here. I don't know if you hear that. It kind of like moves around, and it's like it kind of like shoots back and forth like inside of the lens, and when you activate it, that doesn't move around so much. But I love this lens. It's very sharp. I mean, it's so lightweight and compact. It just basically lives on my A7 III, and I just love the design. I do kind of wish, like, even though it is small and compact, I wish that the filter size was like 67, like the 20mm, and my 85 that I have. Now they did just come out with the 35-1.4, which is, looks like another great lens. It's built like the 20mm, but I don't know. I bought this one used. I love it. Some people don't like the bokeh or the bokeh. I don't mind it, and it's just real nice. Has a little bit of chromatic aberration at like 1.8 in some spots, but you know, it works. The next lens this one right here. This is the Sony 85-1.8. This is the 85 that I personally use and I really love. I got this one used as well. There's a common trend here, if you haven't noticed. Pretty much all my stuff is used outside of this lens that I'm shooting on right now. So got this 85 used. Focuses pretty nicely, decently quick. The manual focus is nice. I just love the big like glass element inside of there. Get some nice flares. You can get some nice out of focus bokeh. And the 85, like when I have this 85 on my camera, I feel like if you want to look professional with your photos or your video, an 85 is like the way to go, because you get that real nice, like nothing's distorted. You get that nice shallow depth of field, and I do a lot of like foreground blur and background, and 85 just does it for me. I just love it so much. And then my other prime lens that I own right now is a beat up guy. This is the Helios 44-2. This is a vintage Russian made lens. It's a 58 millimeter, like I said, f2 lens. The cool thing about this, it's got a manual aperture, which is kind of interesting. So you can open and close the aperture, and it's also manual focus. So that's how you focus the lens. And this is also an adapted lens. I did a video, like one of my first YouTube videos was about this lens. And so if you're interested to see it, you can check that out. But the thing that I really love about this is not only the build quality, the flares that you get are pretty insane. Sometimes it's not like it's out of control, and I don't use it all the time. But every now and then, if I need kind of like I don't know, something looks like it's a holographic Pokemon, or if it's on fire or something, you can get some pretty wild flares. This has like a cool little swirly bokeh too in the background, and I just love it. And it's very affordable. You could probably find it for $50 or less, depending on if you're on eBay, Amazon, wherever you find it. So this is the Helios 44-2. It's a really long name, but anyway, I love this lens. It's really cool. I don't use it a ton, but when I want some different elements thrown in, that is definitely the one that I'm going for. Okay, let's drop back into the chat. I noticed that 2 different shots looks so good because you've mastered. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Talking about the other camera that I have and just learning to master what you got. All right, Leo, good to see you, brother. Take care. Hope you're doing really well. Hey, another thing too, we're nearing 2,000 subscribers on the channel, which is pretty awesome. Very, very cool. Can't thank you enough for your support, for just, participating and watching the videos that I produce. I have a ton of fun making them. I hope that comes across. I hope that it entertains you, that it gives you value, and trying to do as much as I can, as well as keeping a balanced life. So sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, when someone asked about making videos, and it kind of comes with motivation, and it's just something I really want to do, but sometimes I just don't have just in all transparency, sometimes I just don't want to do it, just don't feel like doing it. So that's why I kind of have to ride the wave of motivation of like, no, I got to do this. I want to do it. And then when I'm starting to do it, like, it's fun. I enjoy it. I have so much fun doing it. So anyway, all that to say, thank you. I certainly appreciate the support. Danielle, use gear is the way to go. I was able to get my A7R3 for cheap. Honestly, that is really, that's really the way to do it, in my opinion, for people getting started. Now, I also understand too, like, being afraid to buy something used, but as long as things look to be in working order, and if like you're doing something like a Craigslist or a Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or whatever, and you can actually get your hands on the equipment test it out. You know, like I didn't just buy this lens without testing it out. Like I brought my camera and I tested it. Likewise, when I bought my camera, I was able to test it. Now my other camera, not so much. And I'd say the same for this lens. I think I bought this one used off of Amazon. But here's the thought. Like, okay, so this lens is kind of like beat up. It's got some little bit of wear and tear on like the focusing ring and stuff like that. Most of that was already there when I got the lens, but I know that I'm going to use it, so I'm not afraid that somebody already kind of used it before I'm using it. I don't know if that makes sense, but if it's a little dinged up, it's not going to hurt the overall quality. I did luck out with my A7 III though. The person who I bought it from, they took really great care of it, and so it's worked flawlessly, and I have zero complaints about that, and I saved like $600. So for me, it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. So I would encourage you to check out any of that for your used gear purposes. Hey, if you do have any questions here, we're at 45 minutes so far. If you have questions, drop them in the chat and I would be happy to address them. Starting to creep towards lunchtime here, so I might do that if we don't get many more questions coming through. Also want to mention before I take this sip of water, if you're getting value, like the video, you know. Hope you guys are. Oh, hope you're enjoying these little text animations. I found out a way to pull I think it's pulling like an alpha key from Final Cut. You have to use like ProRes 444 or something, and then that way it takes the background out and it just drops the little element, kind of like a video PNG, if you will. So that's all good and fun. Let's check it out, see what we got here. Yeah, you just kind of convinced me to buy the 85. It's good, man. The 85, it's a great focal length. Like you get a nice blur. I would put it on night camera, but I feel like it would get nothing in focus. Let's do that. Why not? Why not? Just give me a second. Just 1 second here. We're gonna do this. All right, let's check out and see how zoomed in this camera is now. Oh wow, and it's really overexposed. Give me, let me fix that real quick. Hold on. Oh man. Boom. Okay. I just wanted you to see. So this is on a cropped sensor camera though. But there's autofocus, maybe. What's going on here? Oh no. I swear it's a good lens. I don't know. I had a feeling that was not going to be a great idea to do that. But you could see that blur though. Oh gosh. Already liked the video. Appreciate it. Currently looking at the Tamron 28-75 and the Sony 35. 85 would be a great addition as well. Yeah, I mean, the 28-75 is more versatile. Like if you only said, hey, I can only really have one lens, or you want just one lens that does some all-around stuff, then I'd say go with the Tamron. But if you're cool with like some of the limitations of a prime, like you have to physically get closer and farther away from your subject, then go with the primes. Primes are fun. Here, I'll put the 35 on this camera. Okay, we'll see how that looks instead, if it'll focus. It's got to do with this, because I'm setting it up with stream. Something. All right, I'm going to throw it in manual focus. How about that? Oh, it is a manual. That would be why. That's probably what was happening with the other one too. Okay, anyway, so this is the 35 now. Let me put it in auto. See if that works. Are we focusing? There it is. Okay. So this is the 35 1.8 on the A6300. So technically, because those sensors crop in, it's a 1.5 crop. So 35 on a 1.5 is like a 50, right? 35. Yeah, or a 45. Math. I don't know. But that's pretty much what you're looking at right there. All right. Frank says your video on Lightroom Mobile taught me everything I know about it. Thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate it, man. So happy that you found it. Yeah, it was really it's really funny because I made that video quite some time ago, and I thought to myself, like, after I posted it in the first 2 weeks, I got like basically no views on it. I was like, well, dang, that was kind of a waste of time because it was a really long video, but I was really trying to explain every in and out of the app, and I knew that it took some time. I didn't want to rush through it. And then like right at the turn of the year, started getting some traction. So I've been seeing a lot more views on it, which is really cool. So also to mention too, if you feel like if you're posting videos here on YouTube and you're not seeing traction right away on it, you never know. 5-6 months down the road, something could happen, and then all of a sudden it just blows up. So who knows? So thank you for Frank for saying that. I really appreciate it. Let's see, Hyperspace. I also buy my stuff used. I usually do so at camera shops. I found that some are specialized in just that. Well, that's cool to know. Yeah, we really don't have, I think the only close by camera shop that I have around me, they do more of like printing, and they do film, like film development, film cameras, different things like that, which is really cool. I just don't do anything with film, and I honestly don't really have any interest in doing anything with film. And so I find myself resorting to Facebook Market, what's the other one? Craigslist, different things like that. And I'll find it comes in waves. Like there's, some weeks it's like there's A7 IIIs and A7R IIIs that are just plentiful and people are trying to get rid of them. And then the next week there's like none. So yeah, just even if I don't need something at the moment, sometimes I'll just kind of always be looking to see what the used market looks like, just because you never know. Like maybe I do need to upgrade my other camera or something like that if it breaks on me or something. So it's just good to know what the value of things are kind of as you go. Oh, okay, Leo. I see what you got it. I see now. Yeah. Okay, so you already own the Tamron and the 35. Yeah. So the 85, yeah, if you want to mix it up with primes, typically like for like wedding photography and event photography, if people are going to get into primes, typically you would get a 35 and an 85 because that gives you a good, 50 millimeters of difference between the two. And a lot of people will get like two camera bodies, and they'll have like a 85 on one, 35 on another. So they have like their wide shots, and then they have their tighter shots. Some people would say like, why don't you just get a zoom lens then? Primes just kind of force you into creativity because you have to physically move to change your framing. So that's partially why I like primes. Also, you don't get the lower like 1.8s, 1.4s, 1.2 apertures with zoom lenses. You have to get it with a prime lens. So yeah, I would say then 35, 85 is good. And then the other that I hear is 24 and 50. Like that same kind of a jump in your frame distance. And some people, they'll have like all four. And they'll use those just throughout the day of an event. So a 24, a 35, a 50, and then a 85. And that covers like the full focal range of pretty much anything you would need. Unless it's like a super zoom. Or a telephoto, I should say. Aging Cadillac. I was already thinking about getting the A6600 as my first camera. What lens would you suggest starting with for vlogs, interviews, that as nice bokeh. Okay. Yeah, Leo's on it, Sigma 16 or the 30. If you wanted something though, those will give you great depth of field, absolutely. Another idea too, not to say don't get the primes, get this instead, but the other one is, oh no, it's the Tamron 17. It's like the brand new one that they just put out. 17 to 70? Is this it? This one right here. So if you wanted to just get the prime lenses, you're going to get a lot more of that blur, which is going to look really great. There's this new lens, which is not in stock currently because it's like brand new. But this one gives you a wider focal range. So it gets you pretty wide. So 17 millimeters on a crop sensor camera is going to look like 26 or 27. Dude, I can't do math today. What the heck? So anyway, it'll give you a relatively pretty wide view, and then you can zoom it into 70, and then it gives you what would be 70, like a 105. So almost like a 25 to 105. That's a pretty good focal length. Really, really good actually. Because at 2.8, it's obviously not 1.4 or 1.8, but when you zoom in lenses and you get more compression, you get more of that separation. So like when you zoom that lens all the way into 70 and you get something in focus and like it's kind of close-ish, you can get some nice blur as well. So even this lens that I have right here, this is for APS-C bodies specifically. This is the only zoom lens that I own right now. Oh, let me do this for you so you can actually see it. Hello. So this is the 18 to 105. This is an f4 lens. So f4, not a lot of light coming into the sensor, which particularly does not help the smaller sensors, because smaller sensors are not as good in low lighting conditions. So it's good all around, but f4 is not that great. What I was getting at though is that you could zoom this in like all the way to 105, and even though it's f4, it still gives that really nice blur to the background of the subject. But then you need distance to put this and do that. So hopefully that makes sense for you. But yeah, so any of those Sigma primes, the 16, the 30, absolutely awesome. I have a friend who owns both of those, and he has the A6400, and he absolutely loves it. So all good choices there. Let's see. Leo, I film my YouTube videos and recently started with some client work. 35 has kind of become my favorite focal length. Really versatile. Yeah, I agree. 35 is probably my favorite focal length. Absolutely love it. Scott Green, looks like he's got a 24 millimeter G Master. That lens looks phenomenal. Honestly, I wanted the G Master lens. I was kind of being that guy where I found someone who was trying to sell his 24. I think it was when they announced this 20 mil 1.8. He was going to try to sell his 24. I was trying to ask him for a low price. I was being that guy haggling, and he said no. So he said no. So that was okay, but I really did want that lens. I just didn't have quite the budget for it. But then I got the 20 millimeter, the 1.8 for brand new. I think it's like $900. That was the most money I've ever spent on a lens, but it looks really great, and I'm happy with the purchase. I use it for like literally every YouTube video because, and it's obviously what I'm using now, because it just makes my smaller room look large, which is really cool. The other cool thing too on these full frame cameras, you can do a crop mode, so then it acts like it's a smaller sensor. So I can make the A7 III kind of look like it would be the A6300, and I have a button mapped on it. So I'm going to punch into 30. So it's 20, but then it's going to look like 30. You ready? Boom. So now this is like 30 millimeters. I'm at f2.5 right now, but this is a nice crop of my face. So it's like if I want to draw emphasis to something, here we are. It's like, hey, we're not talking about stuff, but let me tell you something really important. Anyway, so that's a fun little trick too. If you have a full frame Sony camera, doing that little crop really helps. I would never sell my 24. Yeah, that's what I hear, man. I hear that 24 is just like, there's something special. And I'd say too, like even this is 20 millimeter, it's just something really special about it that I really love. Like, I don't know how quite to explain it. It's just the perspective on it, the sharpness. It just does something, like a nice wide, low, like low aperture. What am I trying to say? Low f-stop, that whole thing. So, let's see. Leo says, I think the goal with every Sony shooter is to own at least one G Master lens. Dude, that's so true. Yeah, I don't know when that's going to be for me. The G Masters. They're awesome, though. Like, the build quality is sick. Part of me, I would really love to have a 16 to 35 for doing, like, vlog style stuff. But, like, that lens is, like, $2,500 or something. Like, I don't need it. Need, that's the thing. Wanting and needing, those are the two big questions. I mean, really for anything in life, but especially when it comes to camera gear. Do you want it or do you need it? Do you want or do you need? Deb's in the house. What's going on, Deb? So good to see you. Hey, if you said you got a question, hit me up. I'm more than happy to hear it. So tempted to buy the 20 millimeter. Okay, John Lee is asking a very important question. 20 millimeter 1.8 Sony or the Tamron 17 to 28. This is literally the question that I was asking myself when I went to go buy the 20 millimeter. So we'll do this and then I'll see if Deb's got her question. So Tamron 17 to 28. This here. So I'm just gonna do a little side-by-side comparison. We're gonna pull up another window here on Amazon for the Sony 20 mil. And what you're gonna find is that they are virtually the same price. So question is, oh no, actually the 20 mil is $100 less right now. Ah, dang. That's tempting. And then you can even buy it used, depending on how you feel about the used stuff. We were talking about that earlier. You can even buy it for less used. What's the Tamron like used? But then you have to like wait longer. So I battled back and forth with this between the 20 and the 17 to 28. After I would ask just like, what are you doing? Like, are you vlogging or are you doing photo more? Are you doing more just like talking head video stuff where the camera is kind of stationary? Because I think that's another really important question to ask about that, because I'm checking out the stream stuff here. So the reason I'm asking that is because, like, so I have the 20, I did the Big Sur vlog. So you can, if you want to see what it looks like for vlogging stuff, I used this Joby GorillaPod, which is just holding a light right now. But I used this and then just the Sony A7 III, which is a full frame. So I'm getting the full 20 millimeters. And I used that for that entire vlog. That was pretty much the only lens I used, except for some B-roll stuff. I think I switched over to the 85. But I will say, only having that one focal length for vlog stuff was a little frustrating, because I wanted to just zoom in and zoom out for different things. And instead, because I'm prime lens central over here, I had to open up my bag. I had to take off a lens, put it down, take out a lens, put the caps on the other one, put the lens on, shoot some things, and then switch back to it if I wanted to do some talking stuff. So I'd say if you're vlogging, then I would say, like, if that's your primary function, I would probably say the Tamron. If you're doing anything else and you're okay with that one focal length, I would say get the Sony. Just my opinion, because it was still a good experience vlogging with it. I just found myself, like, I knew that I wanted to get other shots and things were far away where we were. So like we were going through the national park stuff and I wanted to get a close up on a bird or like these seals, like sea lions and stuff. They were pretty far away. So that was a little bit of a bummer. So hopefully that helps you out. Okay, let me hop back into the chat real quick. Looks like we had some activity. Okay. 1635 would be the one. Okay, Deb is asking. For live streaming, I use XSplit and my main camera is an A6400. I have an NEX6. I think it's an older one. 2. Can I use 2 cameras at the same time? I can broadcast with the A64 via the remote app of Sony, but the remote app does not work for the NEX6. Okay, so I haven't used XSplit, so I can't really give you specifics on that exact answer. I'll just show you what I use here. This focal length actually works. So here's my computer, my MacBook. I've got my dongle here. Yo, my battery's dying. I'm gonna have to figure that out soon. Anyway, so these 2 extensions, you don't even need these necessarily, but these are what I'm using. And I have a link to these down in the description. So what I use are these two of these cheap capture cards. They're like $20 and a bunch of different companies make them, but as long as they look something like this, and the one that's linked should be one that looks like that. So I just have 2 of these that hook up HDMI to micro HDMI onto both cameras. So I don't know about the NEX6, but in theory, you could just get 2 capture cards for like $40 maybe, and then hook it up HDMI, get both of those into your computer via USB then, and then you can use both. So I'm using OBS. You can kind of see this is like my setup for OBS. I just have my different angles set up here in my scenes, and then I just have my input there. So that's how I use it. That's a pretty simplified way. Hopefully that can kind of help you in what you're trying to do. But yeah, so that would be my suggestion for that. Okay, let's see. I was actually able to afford the Sony by doing client work. Well, good job, man. Leo, you're living the dream. Getting to pay for things with the money you make. Love it. What else? Jonathan, that's amazing. Yeah, it's good stuff there. So I may need a capture card. Yeah, I would double check, Deb, that the NEX6 does, if it has an HDMI out. So like all these, the Sony cameras I own at least, they have a micro HDMI out. So you'll have to do like micro to regular and then have the regular HDMI into the capture card. Then the capture card goes to your camera. Hopefully it's not too confusing. I do have a live stream setup video. I actually have a couple of those that will help explain it better on the channel. Ben Johnson's in the house. What's up, Ben? Good to see you, brother. If you guys haven't seen Ben Johnson, he's blowing up on YouTube right now. Dude is killing it. Love his freaking videos. And he's my good friend. Hey, all right, please forgive me. I'm going to come right back. I need to grab my charger because I'm at 11%. Or do we want to live life on the edge? Just let me know. Do we want to live life on the edge, or does Zach need to go get his charger? John Lee, appreciate you, brother. Yeah. Oh, okay, and you're shooting weddings, John? Yeah, I would say probably, dang, dude, I don't know, 20 mil, 1.8 in low light, kind of sounds awesome. All right, everybody, Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna grab my charger. I'll be right back. I just got the warning on my computer. I'm gonna show this and then I'm gonna put the chat up so you can look at each other chat while I go grab my charger. Coming back. This live stream is so spur of the moment. I didn't even bring my stinking charger. Okay. Charger. In. Heard the ding. We're safe. Praise God. All right. We're back. It's good to be back. Hey, I'll just mention this is probably the longest live stream I've done so far. So, just for being here, I want to mention, like the video. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Would greatly appreciate it. We're getting close to 2,000 subs. It's a huge milestone. Really appreciate it. And also, while you're here, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Chat is getting very active right now. Very thankful for that. All right, Jonathan, we got the charger. We're good. Yeah, Ben Johnson's the lighting guy. What can you say? Kudos to Ben as well, because Ben just hit 1 million views on his lighting video. So I just want to give him a shout out for that. But yes, we did make it here. So let me know what other type of camera stuff you want to chat about. We've talked about lenses. We've talked about new cameras, all of that fun stuff. Joey C is asking me, how long did it take for you to get 1K subs? Good question. It took a few months. Let me actually go back. I can actually give you a decent answer. I'm going to check my video postings because I posted a video about getting 1,000 subs, and that was right about when I got 1,000 subs. So that was November 28th. So I think I really started posting semi-consistently when it was April. I think it was around April is when that started. So that is April to November. So May, June, July, August, September, October, 7 months for me. So there you go. It's a grind. YouTube's a grind. Let me tell you, some people it happens a lot more, like a lot faster. Some people it takes a long time. A lot of it depends on the content, all of that. I just gotta give a shout out to Deb with the freaking super chat. Keep it up. Love that little pair with the workout equipment. Deb, you're incredible. My gosh, I appreciate you so much. It's so cool. Man, thanks for the support. Yeah, so it took like 7 months, and that, I tell you what, it felt like forever. I'll say that. And it was just really kind of, it was a grind. It was a grind just getting to 100 subs, to be honest. Like there's different levels to this thing. So first getting 100 subs, that's like the big milestone when you first start out. As quickly as you can reach that, do it. Boom, you hit your 100 subs. Then you got to do 10 times that to kind of reach like the next milestone of 1,000 subscribers. And that is like, it's tough. Let me tell you, like it's not always easy. And I learned a lot that you have to start putting out content that people are actually going to want to watch. I think I mentioned this before time and time again. Like if you wanted to start doing vlogs, that's really cool. But if you just say, like if I just said my name, Zach Sopak vlog episode 1 or episode 10, 12, nobody knows really who I am on the platform because I'm just starting out, unless I have a big following from some other platform and I'm bringing them over. So find ways to integrate topics that people are actually searching. I'll put this recommendation. I use an extension for Google Chrome called TubeBuddy. You can actually use it for free, and then they have a few paid versions as well. But there's a link to it down below in this description here and then all the description of my videos. And what TubeBuddy does is it allows you to see what people are searching for. There's also a couple of other extensions too. I think there's like Google. It's a Google search. There's different free ones too that you can look into, and you can start to like just see what people are looking for, and then match that up inside of your niche. So like my dude Ben, his lighting stuff, like a ton of people search for video lighting, like a ton. Obviously, he's got 1 million views on his video, and it's like less than a year old. So just find that stuff, and when you can start to find those relevant details, those things, and then it stands out for people, then that's really where you start to get some things standing out. So there you go. Oh man, Leo, dude, thank you so much. My gosh, we got generosity left and right up in here. Super appreciate you, brother. Thanks for everything. No, thank you. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate all the support. That's really awesome. I appreciate you guys. You don't have to do that, but I definitely do appreciate it. Okay, and Leo was also saying earlier that his phone was at 1% and he had to run and grab his charger. So, wow. Yeah, Deb says for her it took 10 months to hit 1,000 subscribers. I do have a video on how I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I think that there's some good stuff. I kind of broke down just like my experience and some practical things to think about, like as you go into doing YouTube and trying to get 1,000 subs. Freaking Jonathan J. Torres, you guys, what the heck? Another freaking donation. This super chat stuff. My gosh. Dude, you guys are amazing. This is insane. Like, thank you guys so much. This is like, that's so kind. This is really, really so kind. He's dropping the mic. These emojis are also killing me too. Man, you guys are too great. I appreciate you so much. That's too kind. What does Leo say? He said, for me, it took 1 year to get 200 subs. 200 subs, man. Oh boy. Yeah, it's like that sometimes. You know, you just got to grind it out. The other thing I'll mention too, Joey, if you're still here in the chat, you just like post as consistently as you can. Like just try to determine what's the most, like how much can I actually do week to week, or maybe it's year to year. I don't even know what it is. Or like just try to think about how many videos can you actually post and do it really well. Try not to let the notion that things have to be perfect stop you. Love Sean Cannell from Think Media. If you've followed me, I probably quoted him a few times before. And what he talks about is done is better than perfect. So the notion is that you don't force yourself to make things perfect, because when you try to make things perfect, you're basically never going to post. Or when you finally decide that it is perfect, it's going to take so much longer to get to that point than if you would have just posted it and then just go back. How embarrassing. What the heck, man? This, okay, so this is a downside to using these wireless things, because if they die on you, you have to like, the freaking batteries, man. Okay, so here's the truth. I have a cable that just connects to the camera. But let me go back to this second angle here. Like there's not a ton of space from the camera to this microphone. So it was almost ridiculous to run like this 20-foot cable that I have. I literally have like this 20-foot cable, but it's running like less than a foot from the camera to the audio. So anyways, so sorry for the audio. My gosh, I thought we were running a professional stream here. Oh my gosh. But all right, so let me get back to what I was talking about before I was so rudely interrupted by this. And thank you, Ben. I got your text, bud. Thank you. So I was on a roll talking about this thing that you just post as much as you can. Don't let like the thing of trying to make things perfect stop you from posting your next video or your next post on Instagram or whatever it is. Because if you allow it to stop you, you're not going to post as often. You're just not going to do as much. So if you just post, allow yourself to maybe make some mistakes, then by the next time you post another video, learn from those mistakes. And the thing that I was trying to draw emphasis to, I think before my audio cut out, was to take the L, which is a really lame thing to say. Take the L, but not a loss, take the lesson with it. That's a very lame way to say it, but just take every lesson with the videos that you're creating. So as I mentioned, you may not like the edit, how it looked, the color, the sound. I look back on my first 5-10 videos and I was like, why does it sound that way? Why does it look that way? My white balance was off. Like it just didn't look proper. Well, now I learned along the way, and hopefully I'm getting better each and every video. Get to grow in the process, get to grow a little bit more in what you're doing, and then, you know, go on from there. So Jonathan says he was able to get 200 subs by posting on Instagram story, word of mouth. Absolutely. Ben saying 200 still a lot. That's absolutely true. Yeah. I love that perspective, Ben. So Ben's talking about like, I've heard that before too. It's like, if you think about, you know, if you get 1,000 views on a video, like if you compare that to a classroom, like even in like a big college, that's like more than a college classroom. And then if you get, you know, I think like the video that I have right now with the most views is like, I think it's close to 65,000. That's a football stadium. And then if you get 1 million views on a video, then that's more than any football stadium or anything, you know, combined. So then you're starting to talk about like populations of like small nations and like states and stuff like that. So maybe not states, but very large counties. How about that? So it's all about the perspective, just how you view it. I think it's really important too to think about how, like, what is success to you. And then, so let's say for me, success is, I don't know, let's say 100,000 subscribers is success. Well, that's cool. But then I also wonder, like, just when you reach your goals, like, is that it? Or do you just always feel like you have to always be striving for more? So just always kind of like keeping that staying hungry mentality, never being complacent. Like being content and complacent are two different things. You can definitely be content like where you are. Like I'm content with where I live. I'm content with my job. I'm content with, you know, this or that. I'm content with my camera gear, whatever it is. But once you become complacent, then that means you're no longer growing or you're no longer striving to become better at what it is that you do. So always try to move forward, not being complacent. You can be content. Content's fine. Just don't be complacent. Always be growing. Always be learning every single time. Like I said, I learn every single time I post a new video. I did something on my last one with the RGB lighting. I didn't realize it till after the fact. So I was mentioning these Comica boom things. I wanted to do something where I was in one part of the room. I could use like my shotgun mic and then I had a lapel hooked up. But I found out that there's two, like, so I could send two signals to this, but I accidentally had both of them on like the whole time and I couldn't separate the tracks in post because I didn't set this to stereo. So the audio sounded weird because it was coming through a lapel and it was coming through a shotgun mic. And I was like distanced from the mic half the time. So even in my most recent stuff, I make mistakes, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from posting because I wanted to post it, because I needed to do that for myself, to just get it out there and do it. Keep going. Success will come. Stay on the grind. Absolutely. Absolutely. Leo says, I'm at 2.6K on Instagram, probably because I found my unique style with Lego photography. What? Dude, that's awesome. Lego photography? Love Legos. Dude, I haven't played with Legos in a minute. Lego, okay, so like best toy I had growing up was this giant tub of like it was a blue tub of Legos, and it was the best. It just had everything in it that you would ever want. And then the only limitation is your imagination. And then if you step on one of those godforsaken edges of a Lego. Oh man. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Yeah, we're at 1:25 on this stream. My gosh, freaking love it. Hey, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them there into the chat. And the other thing I want to mention too, I'm just getting a lot of use out of these little pop-ups. The other thing I want to mention, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I did see that we just hit 1,900 subscribers. Thank you so much. We're on our way to 2,000, and then the whole world, I don't know, 2 million, 2 billion, why not? Who knows? Oh man, you guys, this is a ton of fun. I really appreciate just you hanging here on the stream. Like I said, this was really just kind of spur of the moment. I just wanted to chat about camera gear and stuff. I'm still happy to chat with you all about whatever. This is literally the most talking that I do in my entire week, is when I do live streams like this. So I love doing it. It's a fun little time to just get around and interact with you all. And yeah, I'm not sure really where else I want to go with that. This has been really good. I am very thankful for your generosity, for all those super chats and stuff. You guys are too kind, far too kind. May or may not be a good time to wrap this up. I'm thinking here. I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I've had like 2 epic fails. You could tell like how spur of the moment this stream was, because like I didn't bring my charger in here. I didn't bring my I didn't charge up my other live stream stuff here. So we're just rolling with it. The one cool thing is though, as I mentioned, I did get a new desk, and I'm rolling this thing up because it's a sit stand. So I can make it go higher, go lower, so that's fun. And then I can also move you with me if I wanted to. So now we got a whole new perspective. This is like a brand new live stream now, right? It's pretty exciting stuff. All right, and now we can't really see much on this camera, but we'll shift it over. There's the setup. In fact, let me switch this lens back. Hold on a minute. There we go. All right, a little bit of a wider perspective. So this is literally it. This is the whole thing. I've got the camera on a little clamp. This is a recommendation from my friend Ben Johnson. A nice little mic clamp as well. I've got a little extra light here, my little aperture light, just for some fill. And looks pretty good, not gonna lie. I have a feeling that this whole setup will change though. Like, there are things about this that I love. You should roll throughout the rest of your house. Dude, I could, but no, I could just unplug that one. And then now you like got me considering doing this. What are you doing to me, Ben? Okay, let's try this. Okay, so I unplugged camera 2. So now I really am like totally hands-free here. We're gonna do a standing stream. You guys, this is what happens when you do the longest live stream that I've ever done. Crank it. right. It's about all I'm getting here. I love this desk, but that crank is a bit of a chore. It's like really working the forearms there. And I think we're charged enough on the computer for now. But literally, we can just like move it wherever we want. It's so cool. This is so random here at the end of this stream. A live vlog. Let's go. Let's go. Oh gosh. Dude, heck yeah. Live vlog right now. But this, instead of like a gorilla pod, you just bring the whole desk. Crank up the content. Oh, you guys are too much. Freaking love it. Love it so much. All right, we just hit an hour and 30. I'm now doing a desk vlog. This is very interesting, and I think this is a good time to probably wrap this baby up, put a bow on it. I don't know, I've already said that like 3 times. It's kind of how these vlog. I'm now calling this a vlog. It's not even a live stream anymore. What the heck? Ben, you got to come visit so you can hang out in my live vlogging area. So, all right, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I love you all. I think this is it. Yep. I think I'm good and done. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Love you all. If you got value, make sure to like the video, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until the next time, my name is Sopak. I'll see you in the next. Oh wait, Ben. Yes, live together. Of course. Okay, we gotta make it happen. Listen, we gotta make it happen. You can. I'll bring my desk too. Oh my gosh, dude, I can't. If you don't know this about Ben Johnson, he is the punniest guy you will ever meet. He quite literally, he created a wedding business off of a pun. His wedding business is called Love View, one word, Love View Weddings. Get it? Like, love you. So, oh, Ben, you ordered your capture card. Sweet, dude. So anyway, Ben's always coming in with them clutch puns. Freaking love it. Germany. Oh my God, we got the whole freaking nations of the world in here. I love this so much. My God, you guys are amazing. Goodbye. Skateboard. Bring a capture card. Come on, why not? All right. I think now is an opportune time to call this thing done. Man, thanks so much. This has definitely been one of Leo can bring his Legos. Oh my gosh. I think I'm catching the chat a little late here, but love you guys. You're amazing. Love all of you. I'm going to do this from a standing position because I can. Check that out. This is getting really interesting. Just want to say thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.